New Frontiers of AR and VR at Sundance. I'm Tonya Hall for ZDNet and Tech Republic, and joining me is Tom Emrich, partner at SuperVentures. Welcome, Tom.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, good. You have been having a lot of fun. In fact, you've spent the last few days at the Sundance Film Festival in Park City, Utah, witnessing the latest in AR and VR films, haven't you?
I definitely have. Sundance is filled with augmented reality and virtual reality thanks to the New Frontier section of the festival. I think it's 10 to 12 years now that that's been running, and Shari Frillet, who's the curator of the New Frontier exhibition this year, just really outdid herself. So I'm coming back with lots to say.
Well, speaking of New Frontier, the Sundance Institute's New Frontier initiative celebrates creators who use technology to push storytelling to the edge of the craft. Tell us about that experience and why this emerging technology of spatial computing and VR and AR is so important and in film right now.
Yeah, so SuperVentures, we are dedicated to augmented reality and virtual reality. And Sundance has always been a big supporter of these new emerging technologies that are changing the way filmmakers are telling stories, the way that creators are telling stories. And this year we saw a tremendous amount of technology being used, anything from depth sensors to mobile augmented reality. A lot of HMDs, head-mounted displays on the virtual reality side, as well as the Magic Leap device, which was in various different experiences this year. I would say that this year, again, Sundance was really a virtual reality festival. If I looked back at the 30 plus experiences that were on the floor, about 20% or so seemed to be augmented reality, but that was definitely a difference from previous years. So we're definitely seeing augmented reality being explored much more by these storytellers. And as someone that really has been diving deep into augmented reality for the past 10 years, that's really exciting.
So did you meet any virtual beings?
I did, actually. Virtual beings was like one of the trends, I would say, we saw through the Sundance experiences. Magic Leap had Mika on the floor, and so Mika is a virtual being. They call them Ayas, artificial assistants. And although she didn't speak, she definitely did interact and had very realistic looking face features and facial movements that made you forget that you were looking at a hologram, but instead it felt like you were right beside a regular person. And as you know, the Magic Leap is an augmented reality device, and so you were still able to see the world around you while seeing this holographic virtual being in front of you through the display on that machine. But this wasn't the only virtual being that you interacted with. There were many holographic characters that you could experience at Sundance, especially in the Jester's Tale film, short film on Magic Leap again. This one from Riot and Asad J. Malik and One Rick. It was one of the most talked about, I think, experiences at the festival this year, mainly because it was an immersive augmented reality story where you not just witnessed volumetric video, but were able to interact with the characters using voice and even gesture. So I'll set the stage for Jester's Tale because it was really amazing. It is a little bit like immersive theater. So you walk into a room, the room looks like a kid's bedroom, and you put on the Magic Leap device. And as soon as you put on the Magic Leap device, the holographic characters then appear. The storyline is all about whether or not you are a real person or if you are a robot or AI. And it walks you through a series of tests to see whether or not you are a real person. And there are elements in there where you have to pick up objects in the room and then interact with those objects with the holographic characters. You use your voice to answer questions with the characters that appear through the Magic Leap device. And there were some other kind of surprises that I don't want to ruin, because if you haven't gone through it, you definitely want to experience it. And I left really kind of, I guess, like really mesmerized and thinking whether or not I would have made the same choices in the storyline if they wouldn't have brought in real life elements and if they were all just digitized characters. So I'm kind of being a little bit elusive, and it's because I don't want to spoil the fun for those that may be trying it out later. You'll get what I mean.
Yeah, no spoilers, Tom. Okay, I want to try it out myself. So, and nobody else wants spoilers either. New Frontier isn't just about film, though. It's not just about film tech. In fact, it involves gaming, right?
It does. And there were a lot of experiences on the floor that had the ability for the audience to take agency. And so there was one experience in particular called Interlooped, which allowed for you to be scanned volumetrically, again, making a 3D copy of yourself and bringing it into the virtual reality experience so that you can interact with yourself in multiples. So kind of really playing with identity. We saw also some experiences where you were running around in a crowd and then taking agency by moving the crowd around as a virtual being. And that was Emergence, I believe, on the floor. And so I wouldn't necessarily call them games in that it was like a Super Mario or something that you would find on a Nintendo Switch, but it definitely wasn't just an experience where you would sit back and be passive like a traditional film. And that's kind of why I kind of hone in on this trend of audience agency, where it really required you to take some participation. In fact, in running, which is Reggie Watt's experience, you actually had to get up and dance. And so there was a lot of movement there. And so empowering the audience to actually become part of the experience was another key trend at Sundance. And it's very indicative of the power of virtual reality and augmented reality as a storytelling mechanism.
You know, you make a really good point. And I think audience adoption or, involving the audience could push us to that next level. So how long do you think it's going to be before spatial computing goes mainstream at the box office? I mean, what's it actually going to take to get to that next step?
Well, I think there's a lot of work happening in location-based entertainment. And actually, there at Sundance, we saw a lot of installations. And another trend that I picked up on was this, I'm going to use this term mixed reality really incorrectly. And it's because just like in Jester's Tale, as I mentioned, you have this blending of real-world sets, real-world people in some instances, real-world objects interacting with, in the case of augmented reality, holographic characters. And so you kind of have the blend of a traditional, almost like a play, like a theatrical play that has been brought to life with digital aspects, using a device like the Magic Leap, using a device like your smartphone if it's mobile enabled. But even if you're not seeing the world, which is in the case of virtual reality, the use of space and exploring a world through that use of space is really powerful. And it's really a signature for location-based entertainment, LBE. And LBE in general is on the rise. In fact, Andreessen Horowitz just gave a huge vote of confidence into the space by leading a $68 million round in Sandbox VR, which is killing it as a location-based entertainment company in China and in North America. So I think this reinvention of the movie theater, as you kind of indicated, it's happening right now within the location-based entertainment arena, where physical space is being used to explore digital realities.
Tom Emrich, partner at SuperVentures. Thanks for your insight and opening up the eyes to us who weren't able to be at Sundance this year on what was happening in the space of spatial computing. If somebody wants to connect with you, maybe they want to find out more about your work, how can they do that?
You can connect with me on Twitter. That's where I'm usually at Tom Emrich.
All right. And if you guys want to find more of my interviews, you can do that right here on ZDNet or Tech Republic, or go to my website, tonyahall.net. I've got links to all my social sites. Thanks for watching.